All right. Hello, everybody. Cindy Baker here. I'm a productivity coach, speaker, and an ADHD specialist. And a lot of you know me already, but those of you who don't, good to meet you. I'm here talking about my new book, Focus to Fortune. I've got some of my friends here with me. We are all in a business speaker coaching program together. And so they all know how important it is to manage your time and your focus as an entrepreneur. So my book is live now. Hello, Judy. Um, and I am going to put the link in for a free book bundle power pack that you can download once you get the book. So for a limited time, I'm offering this book, the ebook, for just 99 cents. Pretty good deal. I mean, you can't even buy a cup of coffee for 99 cents, right? So, hoping that when you see this video, you'll all buy my book and download the free giveaway that comes with it. But I wanted to talk with a few of my friends here. These are all people who I know from business coaching program. We're all professional speakers and we're all entrepreneurs. So the book is geared towards entrepreneurs and it's all about managing your focus. Not so much just your typical time management, but more really practical ways to do what really matters in your time. Because I know we all say, I wish I just had more hours in the day, but you don't need more hours in the day, right? So, anybody who wants to share out, why don't you just tell me what you think is important when it comes to time management for an entrepreneur? And maybe you can give some of your hacks and tricks and tell people why they ought to buy the book. Thank you, Janita. She just said she bought the book. Awesome.
I'll speak up.
Okay.
So I've been listening to Cindy for a while now, and some of the practical tools and applications that I've been using is the rock and the pebble. Um, you know, tackle those big rocks first rather than the little pebbles like scrolling through your social media or email, which is very important. But that big project first in the start of the day and get that rock done, it really does feel as though that you've accomplished so much. So
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. It's so easy to just kind of gravitate to the low hanging fruit, right? The stuff that's easy. And then we think we're being productive, but we're not really getting the important things done. And if we're all entrepreneurs, so really 80% of our time should be spent on revenue producing activities. And be honest, I don't always do that, but it's a goal.
I'd
Judy?
love to speak up because, anybody that has any wisdom, like such as yourself, Cindy, that can help in focus is like so valuable. So I cannot wait to read your book. I'm going to order it right now. But any tips that you can give are absolutely essential, especially as entrepreneurs. And so as a licensed psychotherapist, I have, and who mainly as for clients, I do see a lot of entrepreneurial couples and individuals, but having ADHD is very, very common. I'm just saying, like you can go in so many different directions. So I just really appreciate the wisdom that you packaged in this book, Cindy, and I just highly, highly recommend it. Coming from a mental health perspective and just knowing that, yes, time is valuable and our attention, it can be so we can go in so many different directions. And I definitely know that personally myself, not just with working with clients. But yes, so your book is definitely needed. And just to have these practical tools and all the wisdom that you offer, Cindy, is absolutely amazing. So I highly recommend anybody that's even an entrepreneur grab that book sooner than later.
Yeah, thanks. That's good. And so many times we do feel like we're all over the place, you know. And this book really applies even if you're not an entrepreneur. I mean, it's kind of written to the entrepreneur, but gosh, anybody who has a bunch of plates spinning, juggling a bunch of competing demands, definitely could benefit from just a simple, I mean, my brain is simple, you know. I have ADHD, and so I need everything just kind of broken down into step by step, and that's really what this is.
Can
So
I
I'm a
jump
very
in there,
long book,
Cindy?
so yeah.
Can I? So, in fact, I was just going to say about that, just even for the general public, especially in this culture that we have been required to multitask. So, we started with multitasking as an asset or something that you should do. But I think we all now have gotten to the point where we are on the other side of the coin, where we have too many things spinning. We're becoming less productive or less efficient in the pursuit of multitasking, which I think that's where your book comes in to help us focus now. We need to start pulling back from that excessive multitasking. And I think that's where your book comes in with tools and strategies on how to focus. So not just for people with ADHD, this is for everybody that is now in the trap of multitasking.
Yes, that's a great point because we really aren't multitasking. We're switch tasking. We're switching. And every time you switch tasks, it takes several minutes for your brain to catch up to the fact that you've switched. And so I know people with ADHD get bored easily. So that's why we want to switch. You know, I don't want to do this anymore. It's hard. So I switch. But we're not really being as productive, you know, and sometimes when we focus on just one thing at a time, it doesn't take as long as we thought. And we get into that momentum and we end up getting things done. So, yeah. So
I wanna say something, Cindy.
yeah, go for it.
As an entrepreneur, I'm not gonna say hard because I don't like, like negative words. I'm just gonna say it has been challenging. And one of the things that I started doing, and this is the reason, like, I love to read your book. I just bought it, so I'm really happy. And I started doing so I spent 20 years in corporate America. I had a great job, and it's not like I felt like I needed to be focused as I am right now, because right now, if I want to increase my profits, I have to be focused and work on it. It's not like when I was working in the company, I was doing the job, but not that focused. Anyway, so I started doing, maybe last year, the Pomodoro technique, which is, 25 minutes, you concentrate in one task. And it was funny because, I put everything off, notifications, email, but then at 30 seconds after I started, I'm like revising my phone for social media. And I'm like, what am I doing? So it took me a long time to understand, like, how, I was like everywhere. So I'm really looking forward to your book for, like time management, how can I control my time, and basically techniques that are going to maximize my productivity, because sometimes I feel like, I have to be real, I feel so burnt out. I work as an entrepreneur. I mean, you don't even know what your schedule is. Like, sometimes I don't work in the mornings. I usually working at nights. Saturdays and Sundays, I'm working. The other time, one of my friends is like, you cannot come with me to brunch. And I'm like, no, I gotta send this. So I really want to spend time with my friends. So I hope the book gives me more techniques and tools that I can use.
Yeah, and when we have an irregular schedule like that, it's so important to be able to focus when you've got that in between time or that downtime, because you, if you don't focus, before you know it, you got to go run somewhere else and you've lost that opportunity. So, yeah, so there are tips, but the thing is with this book, just like anything, you have to pick one or two things that you're going to try. It's like, our mentor, Kim Walsh Phillips, has said in the past, it's like getting a closet full of clothes. You're not going to wear all of them at once. You're going to pick an outfit, so pick one or two of the ideas in the book that maybe you haven't tried before, and just try that. Don't think I'm gonna do this and this and this, because that's what we do. We read a book and we think, I'm gonna change my life because of this book. No, you're not. You're just going to end up putting it on the shelf. And so this is very practical. It's not a long book. It's easy to read.
Well, Cindy, I was just going to say, one thing attracted me. I just now downloaded it on my Kindle app, and it tells you how long it takes to read it, like 2 hours and something. So it's easy. It's an easy read. And then also like your chapters, like you can look and see, oh, I can assess my time landscape. Like that's like to be able to know where you're starting. But I love it. I love to be able to click on things and be able to read them. So Kindle version is what I've got. So thanks so much.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And the power pack that comes with it, if you the people who are listening to this recording, if you want to download that, it gives you some extra resources. But it is not hard to read. It's just one of the things that you have to do. You have to take an idea and then immediately figure out how that's going to work in your life. Now, I did just get a notification that our friend Justin is coming, but his previous call is running a little over. So, those of you who can stay on, if you want to say hi to Mr. Justin, he's going to be on here shortly. Anybody else have any tips of their own or tricks? Like what have you found that works for you as an entrepreneur? Because we don't have a regular schedule. We have to create our own structure. And many of us are working from home and there's distractions. So what have you found that works?
I've tried to use the Eisenhower matrix,
Mhm.
where you kind of divide all your tasks into the 4 quadrants.
Yeah.
Um,
Urgent,
funny thing
important.
I'm sorry.
Urgency and importance.
Yeah. Funny thing is, though, it's like with my ADD, it's like it takes a long time for me to actually create it because I mean, like 20 minutes in, I'm like, squirrel. Oh, okay. And I do something else. And then if I'm not, I like get anxiety because I'm trying to I'm forcing myself to concentrate on a task for like 20 minutes. So
Yeah.
maybe if you could just help me, like if I've got a task and I know it's going to take like an hour or so, but I'm trying to break it into like even 25-minute chunks. But
Mhm.
even with those 25 minutes, I'm still finding my brain just to go all over the place. What is something that you recommend with someone with the ADD?
Yeah, well, sometimes when your brain goes somewhere else, I have a little notepad that I just leave right by my computer all the time. And when something pops in my head, I just write it down and I get it out of my head. And then I immediately go right back to what I was doing. And that way, it's there and you don't have to keep in that bandwidth. You don't have to keep it there in your memory because it's taken care of. It's on a piece of paper. When I'm done with this, I can deal with it. Like things that pop in your head, like, oh, I got to remember, you know, I was supposed to buy something at the store. I better run over in the kitchen and write it on the grocery list. That's just a waste of time. So, um, yeah, things like that. That little piece of paper, a little brain dump, that really helps. And it looks like our friend is joining us.
Hey, I was
Justin
searching around for the Zoom link. I apologize. I had another interview going over,
That's
but
all
you know a
right.
thing or two about podcast interviews, don't you?
That's right. I had a podcast right before this as well.
There you go.
She asked me all these parenting tips, and I was like, "Look, I have to tell you, I married late in life, and the
Uh-huh.
girls were already raised." So She was
Hey,
like, oh.
all good, but I'm sure you found a way to add value.
Mompreneurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great interview. And so I was going to stream this, but we are just recording it instead because I couldn't get the tech to work in time. And
Cool.
so this can be
You spent
put in my
time.
Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
And we are just telling the people a little bit about why it's important to um, manage your focus and your time
Yeah.
when you're an entrepreneur.
Hey,
Yeah.
Cindy, in answer also to Daniel's question, something that helps me because you asked earlier what has helped you in the past.
Yeah.
And I have found like I found some great music that is like repetitive, kind of like, rhythmic. And if you can find some music that really works with your brain and then set it for an hour, I can be totally in the zone knowing that, okay, I just have an hour to do this, but it's and I can give you the recommendation, but music really does help.
Yeah, that's a great tip. There's even ADHD focus music out there on YouTube for free.
Mm-hmm.
Google
Yeah.
it.
And just do what resonates with you because it might be good for ADHD, but if it doesn't fit, so just find what resonates with you.
Right. Well, let's let Mr. Justin, I know we're all busy, but he's probably super busy. Let's let him chime in. Justin, I know you haven't read the book, but you've heard me talk about
Yeah.
time management and managing your focus as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to just focusing on time management.
Right.
What are your thoughts? And as an entrepreneur yourself, what have you found to be important? And why do you think people should buy this book?
Yeah, I think when it comes to, we hear time management, we hear all this other stuff, but at the end of the day, I think that it reminds me of a story of when my son William was young. As young kids do, he got obsessed with this one thing, right? Sometimes it's dump trucks, sometimes it's race cars, sometimes it's that. He got obsessed with the planets, or as he would call them, the planets. And every single spherical object around the house would get lined up, and he would line them up and he would say, this is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Jupiter, Mars, Jupiter, and go be able to go through all of them. And, he would tell you what VY Canis Majoris is the biggest star. No, and like he just became obsessed with the order of things. And like kids at that age, I feel like all of us in some way, shape, or form crave structure. We just crave a structure, right? And we don't know, but we're born, and Judy could speak to this better than I could, right? Judy Herman could speak to this way better than I could in terms of like you're born into a family structure, you're born into a societal structure. We learn how to behave, the things that are right or wrong, in both in quotes, based on the structure of society that we're born in. And yet, for entrepreneurs, we don't have that, right? Especially entrepreneurs who don't have a 9 to 5 sort of thing going on. We lack structure, but we have these amazing ideas and thoughts, and we think outside the box, whereas most people think inside the box. And yet, with your book, with the things that you talk about, there is a balance, a beautiful balance between structure and the freedom to think outside the box, the freedom to express yourself in a way that is not like most of the people out there. And even inside of that structure, when you talk about it's not this rigid thing. It's not 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's not beginning of school bell, end of school bell. It is a structure that is fluid, that works with you and for you instead of against you. And I just love how you preach giving yourself grace and giving yourself the opportunity to create your unique structure, a unique structure that serves you.
Yeah, that's so important because so many people who have transitioned from a 9 to 5 to being an entrepreneur, working from home, virtual, whatever,
Struggle.
they struggle because there isn't that external structure that somebody else has imposed on them, and they have to create their own. And they're like, what? There's so many distractions. And so that's a good point.
Yeah.
Definitely. What have you found that has worked for you in terms of, I mean, I know you've got Zoom calls, and you just sang in a concert yesterday,
Children.
and what, Carnegie Hall or something like that?
Yeah, it was at Lincoln Center, so
Lincoln
close.
Center. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
how do you manage it all?
Uh, well, I'm very, very lucky that I have an amazing team of people around me who help to manage it, right? They provide the structure. And it's sometimes wild, unstructured life. But I have done what you have preached to many of the people that you work with, which is you must find your own structure. You must find some sort of way to take your gifts, your way of thinking, your unique set of circumstances, and create guardrails that aren't necessarily rigid, but ultimately give you the structure that you need, even in small forms, to be able to be effective. And the more that you, and just slowly, right? I've tried, like many people do, to just say, okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to run a mile. I'm going to do this and blah, 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 and like impose that sort of wild structure. And it just leads to burnout,
Yeah.
right? It's not sustainable. It feels good to be like, yeah, finally I got it together. And it just leads to burnout. But when we follow your advice, when we begin to slowly implement change, hey, instead of just getting up and running 10 miles, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get up and I'm going to have just a protein shake in the morning.
Hmm.
I'm going to start there. Let me just start just adding that in. What I love to do is AG1, the greens in the morning. I'm just going to get up and I'm going to give myself a green. Maybe I'll make it to the gym that day. Maybe I won't. But I know that I'm going to make that commitment to myself. And when it comes to then making that commitment to yourself, it's the keeping of your word to yourself that has helped me the most. It is that keeping your word and saying, I'm not going to try and do everything and then prove myself right by failing at it. I'm going to try and do one thing and do it consistently. And when I don't feel like getting out of bed and doing it, just saying, hey, I got to do this one thing, and just continuing to keep my word to myself and building that trust in that relationship with myself. I say, okay. And then eventually, like you do it and it works, and you do it for not all that long. I mean, think about a month, right? About a month. If you can consistently do something where it's 28 days or something like that, you form a habit,
Hmm.
right? And think of all the sort of negative habits that we've formed and all the other that we've formed unconsciously.
Yeah.
But when you begin to just simply keep your word to yourself in some small measure, it is a building block. And then you can put another block on top of that, and another block on top of that, another block on top of that. And then eventually you can start to put 2 and 3 blocks on top of that, because in the doing of that thing, you've become the kind of person who can take on more capacity. You have slowly but surely increased your capacity to take on these things and do multiple stuff at once. And that's when this, the monster of ADHD and I'm overwhelmed and all these things don't hit as hard. They're always going to be there. There's always that going on in the back of my head, of course, as many entrepreneurs, right? But it is those small wins that you give yourself that increase your capacity to create the larger wins in your life.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna put us back in gallery mode here. Yeah, you mentioned something, you know, one small change or one small step
Yeah.
daily, compounded over time, has a huge result. I mean, it's just like investing your money. But when you say, I'm gonna get healthy or whatever, like you used the example of the gym, and you just do it one time, you're not going to see any results. But if you do it one time every day for 3 months,
Or every other day,
yeah.
or 3 times a week, whatever it is in that small commitment. It's like with content. I hate it. I hate making content. I can't stand it. I just want somebody else. I just want to record, and eventually it'll be this, but like record it and then just let somebody else edit and deal with all the other stuff. I just want to be able to pontificate and then it be finished in some other place. And yet, it is that consistently showing up. And one of the things, a huge podcaster, I forget who it is, said, just keep the commitment to the audience. Whatever commitment you make, if it's once a week, great. Show up once a week on your content. If it's twice, 3, 5, make the commitment and keep it. And that is
Definitely.
so powerful over a short period of time, how that commitment blossoms into command of whatever it is that you want to manifest or create in your life.
Yeah. And, so many people think, well, I just need to be more disciplined. And so we try to drum up this discipline that like a vapor. But really you manage your focus, and what you find is that your discipline just comes in line.
Yeah.
Like the momentum kicks in, and you start to when you act before you feel motivated,
Yeah.
then you find that momentum kicks in. And you
Mhm.
said something about you want to keep your word to yourself. I think that's so important. I mean, think about a friend. I mean, would you let your friend down the way you're letting yourself down when you say you want to do something, but then you don't?
Yeah.
What are you saying to yourself? Are you
Yeah.
not worth being faithful to? And
Yeah.
so all of those little distractions and the little times we talk ourselves out of something, um, all that does is eat away at our self-esteem. Because when
Yeah.
you reach your goals, it feels good, and you feel good about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting when you say that, two things come up for me, and the two main topics are ownership and I forget the other one, it'll come to me. But oh yeah, the other one is your story. So it's responsibility, ownership, and story. When you really begin to delve into, okay, would I treat a friend this way? Would I treat my child this way? Would I treat a loved one the way I treat myself? When I say I'm going to do something and then not do it, but consistently say I do it and not do it? When you can own that, you know what? I've said I was going to do this and I didn't do it. I chose not to do it. I said I could do this. In that moment, I decided not to do it.
Hmm.
When you take that radical and own it, there's like this shame and blame cycle. And again, Judy Herman could talk a lot about this, way more than I could. But we get into this shame and blame cycle with ourselves, and we blame some sort of something outside ourselves, or we just blame our lack of whatever, or we blame our ADHD, and then we shame ourselves, and then we blame, and we get stuck in this cycle of shame and blame. And that is a oversimplification of it. However, one of the ways to break that is taking radical responsibility and saying, I made the choice not to do this. I said I was going to do it, and I made the choice not to do it. It was my choice in the moment. I said I don't want to do it. And there's no blame, there's no shame in that. There's empowerment. It says, I chose not to do it. Now, the result of that choice are positive feelings or negative feelings. If I'm okay with feeling those negative feelings, and I want those negative feelings to be my second point, my story, then great.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be one of those people who's negative Nelly, who walks around and like a curmudgeon. Like we used to celebrate the curmudgeon in stories, right? Like Dennis the Menace would go over
Call them
and talk to that old
Eeyores.
curmudgeon. Yeah, right. Yeah, there was a cute thing back in the day. I used to read these books by John Belair's called like The Mummy, The Crypt, and the whatever. And like the Johnny Dixon, the hero, would go over to this crotchety old scientist's house, and he's a crotchety old guy, but he would have amazing adventures with him, right? We don't see that in literature anymore necessarily. But if you want to be that, then be that, because you're owning your story. You're the author of your story. Now, however, if you say, I'm take radical responsibility for this outcome, and I don't like the way it feels. I don't like the way I see other people feeling about it. I would like to feel differently. Then you empower yourself when you come up to that fork in the road and you say, well, look, I said I was going to do this, and I could choose not to do it and feel that way. Or I could choose to just like Mel Robbins, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's just go and do it, right? And do it and feel good. And show up, and yeah, it's going to take effort, and yeah, I might get a little sore, and yeah, I might be a little tired, and blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, these positive feelings are way better, not only for me, but for the people that I'm trying to serve or doing whatever, or myself, than the negative feelings. It's just taking ownership and recognizing that either way, you're the author of your story. So if you want to have a happy ending, it's up to you. If you want to have a unhappy ending, it's up to you.
Yeah, I think that ownership is so important, and that's one
Yeah.
of the things I address in the book. I mean, I'm in some so-called support groups that are ADHD Facebook groups,
Uh,
and they're just a whine fest. I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
oh, nobody understands me, and
Yeah.
my life is a wreck because of my ADHD, and I'm like, no, it isn't. It's a wreck because you didn't make the right choices. That's what I used to
Yeah.
tell my students when I was a teacher.
Sure.
Leave my
Yeah.
classroom, I'd say, make good choices. And they started saying it too.
I say that to my son every single day.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
so important. And I think this book is really, it enables people to have the knowledge and the skills to know what choices to make
Yeah.
and how to make those choices. Because, you know, I, I have ADHD, and some typical time management systems out there don't work with the way my brain is wired,
Yeah.
because I've got things like forgetfulness and inconsistency and impulsiveness and all these things, and I can't follow. I mean, I remember going um, in college to this day-long time management seminar. I was bored out of my skull. I
That
mean,
sounds boring
it
just
was
hearing
just,
about it.
and I won't tell you the company, but it was a well-known company. And it doesn't work for me.
Uh,
So anyway, so I hope that this book, what we were saying before you came on, is just pick one or two things and try them.
yeah.
Don't just read it all and say, well, I can't do it all right now, so I'm going to put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
As Kim would say, it's a closet of clothes. You pick one outfit.
Yeah. And you just wear it. You
Yeah.
wear it and you go
Right.
out and you do what you do. And what I love about what you've done with this book here is that entrepreneurs, successful, just starting out, somewhere in the middle, all have a challenge with time management, all have a challenge with structure and consistency. And you provide a clear path that allows people to, like you say, whether it's a buffet or a closet of clothes, it's like, hey, here are a whole bunch of different outfits
Yeah.
that all look great. I put them together for you. Try one on and see if it fits. If it doesn't fit, try another one. And you try this, try that. And ultimately, what your book allows people to do is to get those small wins and to stack and compound those small wins. And eventually, when you look back, just like compound interest, you keep winning, you keep winning, you keep learning. When you fall down, you get up and you begin to take ownership, like you write about in the book. You begin to author your own story and recognize that there is no straight line to success. There's no straight line to whatever it is that you want in life. It is this ever winding path. And if you, A, recognize that, B, recognize that you only have control over how you respond to it, and then you can write your own story as you do it and do it in a way that is uniquely yours, regardless of what anyone else thinks, that
Yes.
ultimately you will get further faster than the majority of the people who are trying to figure it out on their own. So I love that you provide that service for people.
Yeah. And no one else can write your story for you. And if you're just sitting back and waiting for something to happen for your big break,
Yeah.
this book is all about taking action
Yeah.
and taking control of your life. I mean, I used to joke and I said, well, when my ship came in, I was at the airport instead.
Right.
But
Yeah.
really, it is about you going out and chasing your dreams, making a plan to get to your goal and making it happen.
Yeah.
Getting the help where you need it,
Yeah.
but taking responsibility and taking control. So, Justin, I know you're welcome to stay, but I know you're probably
I have another call actually coming up
really,
in a few
really
minutes.
busy.
Yeah.
So,
It's all
thank
good.
you so
I
much.
thank you. It's my pleasure. And thank you for having me on here. And one last thing that I want to say as I close, when you do what you have done, and I think this goes for everyone who's certainly here on this call with us. When you are willing to say, this is who I am, this is my story. This is my experience of the world. I've faced some challenges, and yet I've got this thing, this solution, which we love to call value. I got this solution, and I'm going to put it out there. And I'm going to talk about things that make me feel uncomfortable. I'm going to talk about some things that might even make you feel a little uncomfortable. But I know that my voice matters, my story matters. And if I am so bold and vulnerable enough to put it out there, it is going to resonate, not with everyone, but with the right people.
Yes.
And I think that's evidenced in the group of people we have here who are a part of our community, who are showing up to support you, showing up to support Dr. Bernadette, showing up to support, I mean, everybody. It's so beautiful to see because you have been willing to share your story with the world and talk about something that is uncomfortable with you, not just about the wins, but about the losses, and say, hey, look, if you feel this way, you're not alone. And not only you're not alone, but you have a community of people around you who will rally and support you and who will help you. And here, I've got this guide, and it's just a path. And if you want to walk down it with me, let's go. If not, I wish you the best, but train's leaving. You know what I mean? I think that's so awesome. And I know everyone here does that. And I'm so just grateful that you're doing that, because it's a very valuable service that you're providing. And I think your book is awesome. And I can't wait. I need a copy. I'm gonna go get a copy. As a matter of fact, that's right. Yes, I'm gonna go to Amazon today and get myself a copy right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See your faces. Bye.
Yeah, and for those who are listening to this recording, my friend Dr. Bernadette Atanga has a new book out as well. And I was going to give her a chance to tell you a little bit about it, because I have a pretty big Facebook group. Somebody might be interested in your book as well. So go ahead and tell them.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Cindy. How generous. Yes. So my name is Dr. Bernadette Atanga, and the book is Beneath the Armor: 8 Practical Strategies for Men to Embrace Vulnerability and Lead with Authentic Strength. So this is a book for not just for men, but for men and their families or the people in their lives. So again, it's about talking about the culture where we have encouragement to suppress their emotions, no matter the circumstance, and go about with this armor to their own detriment and subsequently to us. And so when we recognize men are human, and we want them to lead with their full potential, but help them address what is underneath the armor. So I'm grateful that you brought that up. It's a very easy read, and it's just meant for people, it's a book, and it's an encouraging book, an uplifting book, to just make them realize it is normal to have feelings. It is normal to address those feelings, and you become a better leader from the workplace to the home, a better leader from the boardroom to the family room. So thank you so much. And it's found on Amazon, ebook,
Beneath the Armor. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Beneath the Armor. So you can get the paperback or the ebook, and just this one, Beneath the Armor, and you can put in my last name, Atanga, Atanga, and it will bring up this one. And just the one with 8 strategies for men. So wonderful. Thank you so much.
I think I said Atanga. Sorry, Atanga.
No, any potato, it's the same thing. Thank you.
All right. So those of you listening, if you have, if you're a guy or you have a man in your life that you think would benefit from this book, go check that out. Check out Focus to Fortune. I'm going to put the link everywhere that I post this video. I'm also going to put the link to a free download, which is a book bundle power pack of about 4 different resources. One of them is a quiz that you can find out what your unique focus style is, and the cheat sheet to follow. So check it out. Thank you to my friends for joining me, and I appreciate it.